Hello, new distance learners. This is Ms. Getz, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about planning distance learning and really using paper to help you schedule all of your schoolwork so that you can make sure that it happens. You can certainly use your iPad to do all of this planning, and you'll need to use your iPad to do some of your thinking about what schoolwork you have, and of course using your iPad to do your work, but I really recommend giving paper planning a try because it allows you to be really organized in a way that is really right here in front of you. So I love using a paper planner, even though I really also use a lot of tools on my laptop and on my iPad because it's visible. It's something that is right out in front of me, and so I can keep track of it really easily. The other thing about having it be on paper and having it be visible is that it can keep you accountable. And so if you see it, you will do it. You can have it sitting out on your desk or next to your bed, wherever it is that you are going to be doing your schoolwork. Having it out in front of you really does allow you to know what you have to get done. Whereas having it on your iPad can be really useful if you're good at keeping yourself accountable by looking on your iPad list of schoolwork, but I really strongly recommend giving paper planning a try. And so in this video, I'm going to go over 3 different paper planning methods. I have a much longer video where I actually set up each of the different methods that you can check out if you'd like to. It's linked in the description, but that's way longer. So I thought I'd make a really short overview video so that you'd be able to really think about what you want to do really easily. So the first thing that you need when you're doing paper planning is having some type of notebook where you're going to keep all of your stuff. It doesn't have to be a blank notebook. I found this little one that I have lying around. I found a composition notebook that I never used for school. Here I have a notebook that I did use for school for a sociology class, but it has a bunch of blank pages in it. So I could use that as my new notebook for distance planning, because honestly, your planner that you get from school is so small that I just don't think it would have enough space. What I'm using for this video is actually my physical science notebook from last year, which has a lot of physical science stuff in it, but it also has a lot of blank pages. So I thought that I would use those to start thinking about distance learning. So the first thing that I want to mention with distance learning planning, and planning in general, is that color coding can be really powerful. And the reason I love color coding is, first off, I enjoy different colors. I think they're really nice to just see, to help you feel like, oh, look how organized I am. So that encourages you to stay organized. But the thing that's really nice about color coding is if you color code, you can keep track of things a lot more easily. You could use fancy Post-its to do your color coding, but most people don't have a bunch of Post-its laying around their house. Maybe you have some nice pens that you got and they're really pretty and so on. You don't need nice pens though, honestly. I found it was really great to just grab some Crayola markers and use those to do my color coding. I also used crayons for some of my color coding in this planning. And honestly, you could use whatever pens or markers you can find lying around your house. You don't need a ton, but it is really nice to have a different color for every single class. Colored pencils would also be a really great option for this. So the first method that I'm going to talk about is one where we are looking at all of our classes. And I've gone through my Schoology listing and written down exactly how much time I have to work on each class. So I know for French, I have an hour and 20 minutes. I've rounded up to 1.5 hours. I've got 1 hour for culinary arts, 1 hour for physical science, and I've made this list of times. Then the next thing that you can do with just knowing how much time you need to work on each class assignment is to set up a little schedule for yourself. That includes each weekday or day that you plan on doing some schoolwork and writing down, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour of French on Monday and a half hour of French on Tuesday. And what this allows you to do is really concentrate your time. So I kind of think of this as the concentrator scheduling, where you can say, okay, I'm going to have this big block of time for one class, and maybe I need to cancel out half of it because I have a question. I need to email my teacher and wait for them to respond to me and then work on it later in the week. But this really allows you to, at a glance, just say, how much time am I going to need, and lay out those times for yourself. You can have specific times if you know the hours of the day where you're going to be doing work, or you can have them just like, oh, I'll work for 4 hours every day on my schoolwork, and sort of chunk out your week that way. So this is really great if you want to be a concentrator. You don't want to get into the details of what you have to work on. Just know overall, here's what I have to do. The next method that I worked on is the one that is kind of the doing the most version. And for this method, what I actually did was, for my color code, I colored on some random paper I have lying around. They're actually old rubrics. And used that to help me keep track of exactly what I have to get done. So I wrote down every single thing that I have to do, and I have all of these written down on this paper, and I've arranged them on 4 days of the week, because wouldn't it be nice to have a 3-day weekend? So here I have each one of my classes happening on Monday, and then I have 4 different classes on Wednesday and 4 different classes on Tuesday. Orders are hard. And again, 4 different classes on Thursday. So this one is really great if you love variety. And the other advantage of this is that you can also include Friday if you want. And it's also really easy to pick up the stuff. I just have them on with little tiny pieces of tape and move them around. So originally maybe you wanted to have a 4-day school week, and Friday do whatever you want to do on your own. You can start with that, and then you can say, oh, I didn't quite get this practice stuff done for choir, so I'm going to actually finish that on Friday. And it's easy to move stuff around. This is if you really love knowing exactly what you're working on every single day, and you want a lot of detail, and you also really like variety. You could do this same sort of thing with the previous method where you group classes together. But then I'm not sure why you would necessarily want to write down every single thing. So writing down every single thing is great if you want to keep up a lot of different variety in your schoolwork. So this is one method. You could also use Post-its for this. If I were using Post-its, I would take them and cut them up into smaller Post-its just so that I didn't use a ton. But this is a really great method for keeping track of all of those assignments that you have for distance learning. And my final method that I have for you is one that I personally, if I were a student right now, this is what I would use. And I'm calling this the procrastinator method. Because it starts at the very beginning of the week with making a list of every single assignment that you have to get done. Again, I color-coded them. I gave them all little check mark boxes, and I have this list of every single assignment I need to get done. I've also included some everyday chores that I have around the house that also need to get done that week. And so the beauty of this method is you have this checklist, and you could just use this checklist without this additional page method, but I really like this. As someone who is a procrastinator and is very easily distracted, what I really like is I write down my day. I have one thing I have to do every day, that's check in with my advisory class. And then I'm just going to set 2 goals. They are for my French class and my science class. I'm going to get all of my science done, and this 15 questions from my French class. So those are my 2 goals. And to do them, I actually had to get done a couple of other things. And let's say you're not keen on doing your science work. Well, keep it as a goal on Monday. But if you're not super excited about it, go work on something else for a little while. Maybe do some choir. So the idea here is that you have 2 goals that you're going to get done by the end of the day. And along the way, you can get done whatever other things you want to kind of distract yourself into getting your schoolwork done. I find this personally really helpful because I procrastinate a lot. And if you can trick yourself into procrastinating with schoolwork on other schoolwork, what a perfect system. And so then every single day you start out the day by saying, okay, did I do my advisory check mark? Maybe you take some notes on the day, you write down your 2 goals for that day, and then you see what you can get done. And I would just continue going next day, Friday, what are my 2 goals? Keeping in mind that I have to get all of this work done by Sunday the 12th. And so this method I personally use in my daily life with all of my to-do lists because it allows me to have a small number of things I'm focusing on, just 2 goals, and having a variety of other things that could happen that day but don't necessarily have to happen. So we have looked at 3 different methods really quickly. I really strongly recommend you give paper planning a try. It can be a really powerful way to get a lot done and really make sure you stay organized. But I do want to remind you that this is all new. So if you try a method and it doesn't work super well, that is totally normal, because this whole distance learning thing is new for your teachers, it's new for you, it's new for your families, and so it's going to be a challenge. So I really recommend picking something, trying that organizational method for maybe 2 weeks. You don't have to do exactly what I did. You can switch it up to meet your needs, but give it a try more than just 1 week, because this is new and it's going to be a challenge. So you just want to do your best that you possibly can in this new and difficult time. And hopefully we'll get to go back to school maybe the end of this year, or maybe we won't see each other again until September. So I wish you good luck. Do your very best you can, and make sure that you're staying safe for our community and for yourself and your family right now.